Good morning. My name is Thomas and I'm from Goodvertise, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Sophie from ACT Responsible.
Actually, Isabel, you have the wrong sister.
Jesus, it's the wrong sister. What a morning already, third day. Not always the easiest, getting that wrong already. But anyways, we're here with a topic that's very, very passionate, I'm very passionate about sustainable development goals. And as some of you might know, the Cannes Lions have been initiated the award about 7 years ago. And it's great to see the industry has embraced and pushed and supported that award over the years. We also have an exciting launch for you today from the UN Global Compact, and we're going to dive more into that. But basically today's topic is diving into the vast topics underneath the Sustainable Development Goals and understanding how we as an industry can drive change using advertising as a force for good. With that being said, who do we have in the studio today? Do you want to introduce yourself, Claudia, Marian?
And thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm Claudia Kirwald. I'm head of marketing for the UN Global Compact. And for those of you that might not be as familiar, of course, everyone's familiar with the UN, but those that might not be familiar with the UN Global Compact, we're the world's largest sustainability initiative. And we've actually celebrate 25 years this year of mobilizing businesses to embed the SDGs, responsible business practices into their core operations. And so excited to be here with you guys today.
Hello, and I'm Marian Brannelly. I'm the Global Director of Awards at Lions, and I work across working with our entrants, also working on actually developing of the new lines and how we change what the entrants and what the jury see and make those decisions for celebrating great creative work. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marianne, for being there. I know you're super busy this week, running around and supervising all the juries and everything. Before we just dive into the sustainable goal, the Lion Sustainable Goal, I want you to remind everyone what it is and why did you launch it 7 years ago, and what it is exactly you're looking for there, and what's the specificity.
Yeah, so it was launched, as Thomas said, 7 years ago in collaboration with the UN because I know as we're all sitting here, we see that creativity can be a force for good, and actually sustainability is such a key part of that, of how we use creativity to impact and make change within sustainability, the world of sustainability. And actually the funds from this line go towards charitable donations afterwards. So since we introduced it, over 1.6 million euros have been donated to charitable donations around the world. And actually what we're looking for in this line, the jury are looking for, is work that progresses to one of the Sustainable Development Goals, one or multiple of them, that works towards that 2030. And this year we've extended the eligibility period. So previously it was just work that ran within the 12 months, and now it's actually work that can have at least be within 3 years. So really looking at shifting from campaign-led work to actually building platforms, because we all know that work in this space takes time to get over the line and develop and actually deliver on that. And we also have a long-term brand platform category, which looks at work that is beyond 3 years. So it could have been a program that has been running for 10, 15, 20 years. And actually, maybe not every piece is a Lion winner, but collectively it is a Lion winning piece of work. So the idea thinking behind that platform. So really looking at that long-term idea building, but also that it's having a real, genuine impact. So the jury are looking for criteria where it's 40% is impact and results. So it's a really high impact and results, because this isn't just about creativity for the sake of creativity. It's creativity that is doing something that's having a real impact.
Yeah, and so I know that this morning you went through with your jury, and we have one of your jury member on this plateau tomorrow, so we might know more. But you announced the shortlist this morning. We can't say more. Do you want to tell us, what are the trends this year? What did you see? What moved the jury? What are the topics coming out?
Yeah, so again, the 17 goals are within this SDG Lion, and we've seen quite a different range of things. So we've everything from, on the shortlist this year, there's everything from credits on licensing, music licensing. There's things like bringing an indigenous laws together with modern laws and actually looking at how that's shifting narratives within cultures around the world. There's obviously products and services that are looking at reducing waste. There's a real mix of things, and I think there's a collaboration between using technology to drive that change. And I think that's a really interesting shift of how it's, yes, we hear about AI and the impact that has on sustainability, but it's allowing people to do more with their time and really start thinking creatively. And I think that, again, fundamentally, that's what this line is about. It's looking at how you use creativity to drive impact, and that will then, using technology to allow free people's time up, is a really exciting opportunity for sure.
So when is the final list? Final winner? Because we need to know that.
So that will come out on Friday,
okay.
And we have our jury president on stage on Friday as well. I'll find the time for you. So they are going to be talking about their journey, but they can't reveal until the Friday night's awards show. But at 2:30 on Friday, we'll find out the bronze and silver winners, and then at the awards show, we'll find out the golden Grand Prix for this year. So.
Okay, last question for me. I have a question about, do you think, so in 2015, the UN went from the 8 millennial goals to the 17 sustainable goals. This framework helped. Do you think it helped the creative agency working on that is using that framework to create? Did it really help them? And do you think they need more?
Yeah, I definitely think there's putting it into the kind of buckets that really align when you're looking at this as a goal that we're working towards. When it's broad, it's really hard. When you're focusing on a very specific area, it gets a little bit easier to be, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. And again, we've introduced a question in the last year where we asked entrants to talk about how is the sustainability work measured on this piece of work, so across all of the entries. And last year we had 12%, and this year we had 20%. So it's increasing, but not hugely. And things they're looking at is measurement, looking at how they're reducing waste. But it's the very, very first step. So I think kind of looking at the entries, what's next is how do we do this practically? We're able to come up with these brilliant ideas, but how do we actually implement these going forward, not just in our own businesses, but for the businesses and the brands that they work for? So I think that's the next step that agencies and people in this world are looking for.
Amazing, Marian. And I think I judged about 5 years ago in the SDG jury, and I think it's also just testament to the fact that sustainability is a journey, even for our industry, that we set out with an award, but it's a constant iteration and constant improvement in terms of how do you make sure that these agencies deliver an impact and impact over time. So it's really great to see that the award is evolving and the agency supports are evolving. So one thing is obviously what our industry traditionally has been good at, which has been perception. Why I'm really excited about this new Claudia, is that you talk about embedding sustainability into business. And I think this has been something that traditional has been tough for marketeers. So there's this gap sort of between the performance of the company and sort of the perception of the company. So with the CMO Blueprint, I think there's a real opportunity now for engaging marketeers to maybe make a unity of the best of two worlds, the world of marketing and the best of what that embedding can do. And I think this is where, for me personally, creativity, storytelling is such an important driver, because we need people to be engaged, we need people to move in these issues. So can you tell me a little bit more about the CMO Blueprint and why UN Global Compact decided to launch this collaborative effort?
No, thank you. And I feel like it was, Marian, you set it up so well. So the UN Global Compact, like I mentioned, we're the world's largest sustainability initiative. Traditionally, we've worked with chief executive officers and chief sustainability officers. But what we realized is to really make the progress that we need, knowing that we're pretty close to 2030, we needed to enable the C-suite as a whole. And what we realized is that CMOs have, just like you said, Thomas, they are brand advocates. They're brand stewards, really. They're growth drivers, but they also have they're powerful communicators and storytellers. So we really felt like they really have a key role to actually create this shift within the organization to build the business case for sustainability internally, as important as it is externally, but it starts internally as well. So what the CMO Blueprint is, so I guess to give you a bit of context, we started this journey actually last year here at Cannes. We actually met with our CMO Think Club, and what our CMO Think Club is, it's basically a working group of global CMO leaders as well as industry leaders. And we started on this journey to understand what the opportunities were, but also what were the challenges the CMOs were having in the space. Because what we realized is you have to incentivize, but you also have to remove barriers so CMOs can get more engaged. And through those interviews with these 25 CMOs and through some regional consultations, we really realized there was a need for common language around sustainability. There was still some thought that sustainability was just environment. And so there was a real need to actually come together and actually say, okay, what does sustainability mean for the industry? There was a need for measurement. So I love that you said that. There's a need for actually, what does good look like, but how do we measure progress year over year? And then the third is, how do we get started? What kind of resources, how do we create an ecosystem of resources? So practically, the CMO Blueprint, what we're trying to achieve is designed to be key actionable steps. You know, it's almost a foundation that we get to build from, of key actionable steps that really help CMOs move from intent to actually meaningful impact. And what that means for them is actually integrating sustainability at the core of how they're building brands, how they're innovating for the future, how they're growing businesses, and really engaging with consumers. So we're really excited. Once again, I feel like we've made full circle where we started with the CMO Think Lab, and we're super excited to launch the CMO Blueprint for Sustainable Growth. And once again, it's just the beginning. So our goal is, let's get CMOs and marketers and ad agencies on board. Let's get them engaged. But I feel like we're definitely, there's been a lot of great progress, but we look forward to the future. We're excited for where we can be.
But I think it's also, again, it is a journey. Let's realize that it will take time, and I'm happy with the engagement that you're doing and the outreach that you're doing. I think in many aspects it is almost like marketing is from Mars and sustainability is from Venus, and we need more of those bridge builders. And also, I think the maturity of realizing that it's not sustainability and brand, but it is brand and embedding sustainability into that. Can you share more about some of sort of the guidelines, how that blueprint how does that look like? How can people that are watching today, how can they integrate that into their business, into their thinking, into their creative?
Yeah. So what we did, and once again, what I love about the CMO Blueprint for Sustainable Growth is really it was developed with CMOs. So it's not, sometimes, and to be fully honest, at the UN, we can be very theory-based, but we said, we want to make, at the UN Global Compact, we kind of translate that into what does this mean to businesses? And so we wanted to be very practical. And like I said, these action steps are key things you can do, things that you can get started. What we've identified was 5 strategic pillars. So when we were talking to CMOs, they basically shared with us that there was 5 key areas that they felt like they could really influence. It's important to allow people, to give people the opportunity to focus on things that they can control and influence. If not, then it's hard for them to actually make progress. So the 5 pillars are growth strategy, brand strategy, innovation, comms, advertising and media, and then collaboration and partnership. So within those 5 key pillars, what we have done is we've identified what are some of these global best practices. Some of the CMOs that were part of the Think Lab were leading companies that were already doing this. They were already implementing sustainability into their marketing operations. So we got to actually really curate a number of key steps of things that they've done in their journey. And for each of these pillars, what you'll find is you'll find 4 to 5. We didn't want to overwhelm. Sometimes you could get, and I understand the 17 SDGs sometimes could be quite overwhelming. So we said, hey, let's start with just a simple of key steps that collectively, if all CMOs can actually sign up, and it's a bit of a call to arms, really, and just get started, we could collectively as an industry make a big difference. So it starts with that framework, and then it's also aligned and really well complemented with case studies. So we, in the interviews and the regional consultations that we did, a lot of CMOs are like, we need case studies. We need to be able to say, actually, this has been done before. And so that was a key thing for us. So we've done 10 key case studies, which basically show that this is possible. So every pillar has 2 case studies, and our goal is to continue to increase that in our resources hub. So continue to add some great resources. I know we have resources from Work and CAN Lions of all the great submissions. So our goal is let's create an ecosystem of brands and experts that actually share some good feedback.
I just have one question. Do you think it's, and I know we need to wrap up, but do you think that this blueprint is accessible for small companies? Is it only big brands? Is it can be, directly applied to small brands, small companies, new ones?
It's such a great question. And I think for us at the UN Global Compact, because we are 40% of our participating companies are SMEs, we're always kind of thinking, how do we make sure that whatever we deliver has SMEs in mind? And actually sometimes feel like it's easier for SMEs. We have Intrepid Travel, they're out of Australia. They're doing phenomenal things with sustainability. That's gotten them like a 98% NPS score with their employees. They've grown, I think it's like a 50% year over year because of what they're doing in sustainability. So I actually feel like it's actually easier because it's not as big to change mindsets. It's actually easier to get started as an SME. So I believe it's definitely accessible, and we encourage both SMEs and multinationals to engage.
I think this is such an important conversation. I really like how the pieces are now finally coming together. In some ways, I always believe that what our industry is capable of is really working well with constraints and solving those constraints. I think the perfect brief and putting the industry's power together can really come up with some amazing solutions. I'm very, very happy now there's a roadmap. I will really encourage everybody to go and have a look at that. And also on the inspiration side, we had an amazing panel yesterday where we talked about stick versus carrot. And I think, unfortunately, this conversation have been quite shaped around, you have to do this, this is a responsibility. So I'm so happy that we now can focus more on the possibilities in terms of brand equity, in terms of engagement, brand love, all these important things, because it is really a powerful market driver when done really well. And I think the blueprint can be a testament to that. And definitely the SDG Lions, I think, have not only just proven the impact, but also there's some amazing business cases in there. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really encourage everybody to go watch the winners. I always enjoy watching the SDG Lions. There's so many inspiring cases. Look the CMO Blueprint up more, and there's a much more to be discovered. This is a journey. We're not there yet, but we're here together and pushing forward as an industry.
And shall we say that we are inviting everyone to come at 2:30 today for the open house for good. So if you don't have a pass, it's your chance to be with us, to discover much more about the CMO Blueprint, and to visit this amazing activation that we have in the hall, the greenhouse. So we're waiting for you, 2:00. Meeting point is Office du Tourisme. Easy one.
Isa, well done. Yes.
Yes.
2:30.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you there.
Exactly.